it would have to be one of the most complex human relationships possible, and one of the most controversial. Should the families of those who die and donate their organs be allowed to meet the people whose lives those organs saved? Many doctors say no. They argue that the possibility of further psychological trauma is too great. It's why the Federal Human Tissue Act prevents doctors revealing any information that could lead to contact. But now a maverick organisation has decided to flout the law, saying it's cruel to stop recipients and donor families from meeting. Renee Emond was killed in a car crash when she was 23. Renee's death resulted in 8 people receiving her organs, 8 lives saved. Now her parents, Terry and Kay, want to meet those people, but the law keeps their identities a secret.
We'd love to thank you in person, but unfortunately, we know that we never will.
These letters from Renee's organ recipients are all Terry and Kay have to hold on to.
I only hope that you know how happy your family's gift of life has made my family.
The letters are signed only with first names: Alf, Annie, Maria.
To your entire family. If they only knew the extra grief they're putting on us by the stand that they take, whiting out people's names, whiting out addresses. It's like we live in a communist state. It's ridiculous.
Sandra Byrne's son Alan died when he was 18. His organ saved 7 lives. Though the letters comfort Sandra, they're not enough. Like Terry Emond, she wants a face-to-face meeting, even if it's with just one of Alan's recipients.
Alan's gone, but you knew that his organs were out there. You could pass people on the street, you know, and you might be passing somebody every day, and they could be, you know, Alan's organs, and you don't know it.
The information they give you is so scarce, you know, it's not enough to be able to build a picture of somebody.
And do you need that picture?
We crave for that information. We honestly crave for that information. The Human Tissue Act, it may protect some people, but by its use it hurts others.
The Human Tissue Act in all states prevents medical professionals from revealing any information about transplant patients or their donors, which virtually makes it impossible for recipients and donor families to meet. But according to many doctors, that's a good thing.
Taking the contact to a full face-to-face contact poses a lot of difficulties and has the potential to undermine the whole transplantation and donation system.
Medical sociologist Rob O'Neill understands why people want to meet, but argues there are good reasons why they shouldn't.
What type of relationship do the parties expect to have? It can never be an equal relationship because the recipient always has this obligation to reciprocate the gift of the organ in some way, and it's impossible to do so.
I know what's best for me, and I won't be told by someone else who believes they know what's best for me.
Terry Emond won't be deterred, which is why he's turned to this man, Graham Harrison.
So if we can go to 1996.
Against the advice of experts and the intentions of the lawmakers, Harrison, who works for Transplant Australia, has set up his own register.
The transplantation to 28th.
He's sent registration forms to 3,000 donor families and recipients. Once filled in, he and his wife Elaine search for possible matches.
Look at that. I think we might have a match here. Now it says...
Are you the right person, do you think, to do it?
I think there's probably better people than I. However, I have gone through that experience.
In 1993, Graham's 10-year-old son Ben died on a hospital operating table. For Graham and his wife Elaine, there was no choice but to offer their son as an organ donor.
How could I not but donate Ben's organs if I knew I had the power of life in my hands to help 2 other families not have to go through the grief that Ben went through?
Within 24 hours of Ben's death, his kidneys were transplanted into David Ridout. Unable to travel or indulge in his passion for singing, David had renal failure and was on dialysis. From the moment he woke up from the transplant surgery, he was hell-bent on finding his donor's family.
I think I just had this gap. I needed to meet them. It was most important that I met them. All I had was the age of the child, the first name, and then through some remarkable coincidences, we were able to ascertain the surname.
And once you got that surname, what did you do?
Once I got the surname, well, it was to the telephone book, and not the telephone book, but books, because we didn't even know that they were in New South Wales.
After ringing hundreds of Harrisons, his perseverance paid off.
G'day, g'day. How are you?
David. Good to see you again, mate.
And today, David and Graham are mates, despite, or perhaps because, of the tragic circumstances that link them.
Organ donation is a story. It's a series of events. And meeting David, for me, was that last chapter.
If their need can't be satisfied with correspondence from the recipient, then I don't see how meeting the recipient is going to resolve the issue. I would suggest that some type of professional involvement with bereavement counsellors or others might be more appropriate.
What if it's just curiosity that can be satisfied with just one meeting?
There is no guarantee of that. There has been evidence put forward in America and in Australia to suggest that face-to-face meeting of donor families and recipients doesn't resolve these type of issues and may actually be counterproductive to their psychological well-being.
And it can go terribly wrong. Here in Sydney, one couple were forced to take out an AVO to stop a donor mother's obsession with them. When the family said they didn't want contact, the woman began stalking them. And in America, there have been examples of recipients being hounded for money, and several cases of donor families and recipients tracking one another down, only to discover later they had the wrong person. Are you sure that you're accurately matching people?
To be honest, I cannot say that I'm 100% positive. I do not have access to the registration details, the personal details of either the recipient or the donor. But I still think that it's a better thing to do something than to let individuals stumble around and try and make their own contact.
Both Terry and Sandra have joined the register. So far, Terry has heard nothing. But during the filming of this story, Sandra received extraordinary news. On the day Sandra's son Alan was hit by a car and killed instantly, Jenny Brown was slowly dying. Jenny suffered extreme diabetes. She was going blind, her body was shutting down, her kidneys had failed. She was waiting for someone else's life to end so hers could begin again.
I think the night that I received my phone call from the coordinator, the first thing that went through my mind was that somebody had died for me. And then I realised that it was a decision that they'd chosen, so I thought, this is a gift.
Did you want to meet the donor family?
Yes, I did.
Why? What were you wanting to know?
It wasn't what I wanted to know, I wanted to say thank you.
A letter could have done that and did do that.
Didn't seem enough to me.
Recipient received a kidney and pancreas named Jenny, and the donor mum happens to be Sandra. Well, I think that's it. We've got a match.
You feeling nervous?
Yes, really nervous. Yes.
Excited?
Excited. I'll probably cry all over it. Yeah, it should be good.
What are you expecting? 5 years after burying her son, Sandra Burns met Jenny Brown.
Hi, Sandra. Oh, it's good to see you. Hello, huh?
At last.
Yes.
There is something tragic, something special that has brought two families together that previously had no connection, no bond, no reason to know each other, and yet now they have got that such a close intimacy.
I suspect that he may find himself out of his depth very quickly, especially if a meeting between a donor family and a recipient does not go well.
That's one you haven't got. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a nice one.
But this day, this reunion for Sandra and Jenny is everything they expected and wanted.
So good to see you.
And everything their families hoped for them.
Dad.
Hi, how are you?
How are you? The description was pretty right.
For Terry Emond, so far there is no news. All he knows, all he has been able to find out, are those three Christian names: Alf, Maria, and Annie. Until he meets them, he'll never be satisfied, and he'll never stop searching.
I want to meet them. I want to know that what Renee gave was for a benefit for someone else. I've yet to make contact. I'll do it in the most subtlest way I possibly can for them. If they say no, that's closure with Annie. And same with Alf, and same with Maria. They can see me. I want to see them.